Hello dear student, let's start with lesson 2. Today we'll begin IELTS listening part 1. Generally, IELTS listening consists of 4 parts. Today we're going to discuss part 1. The agenda for today's presentation is first, we'll talk about listening facts. Second, we'll talk about each section briefly. Third, I'll give you general listening skills. Number 4, there will be step-by-step listening techniques that you're gonna use in all 4 sections. And 5, we'll be looking at section 1 closely. So here we have 5 facts about IELTS listening in general. Fact 1, overall you will spend 30 minutes for the audio listening plus 10 minutes you will get for transferring the answers, and between the sections you'll be given 1 minute to read the questions and 30 seconds to check the answers. Fact 2, you have 40 questions in general. 4 sections, 40 questions, which means for each section you'll have 10 questions. Fact 3, you'll hear each section only 1 time. Fact 4, any spelling mistake is counted, so even if you write a correct answer in singular form, but the answer key says it should be in plural, then you still have no point for this answer. So please be careful with plural, singular, everything which is connected with spelling. Fact 5, also additionally for spelling mistake, is that you shouldn't use the contractions, which means you shouldn't make short versions. For example, the word don't won't be counted, won't give you a point, so you need to write not don't, do not. So don't contract. For example, she's, don't write she's, write she is. So you need to write the answers in full form, never contract. Fact 5, you'll hear not only British accent, so there might be different accents, but in general they are all quite clear. So that means you are not gonna for sure hear some Chinese accent or Indian. Okay, listening sections, there are 4 sections as I mentioned before. Pay attention on the circles that I made. The blue circles are on social topics. Section 1 and 2 are on social topics. And the red circles are on academic contexts, which is section 3 and 4. Also, these 4 sections are kind of similar to each other. For example, in section 1 and 3, you'll be hearing 2 speakers or 3 speakers as a mean of dialogue or discussion. Section 2 and section 4, there is only one speaker, and it's a kind of monologue. In section 2, there might be a speech giving on information or explaining a map or something. In section 4, it's usually a lecture or talk of a, let's say, professor or something. And usually section 4 is much longer than section 2. Most of the students are quite doing well in section 1 and 2 because they are familiar with social situations. In most of the course books we learn mostly social situations, for example, like a phone call, giving general information, phone numbers, giving names, and so on. But in section 3 and 4, since they are in academic context, many students struggle in section 3 and 4. Therefore, in order to practice or to get prepared for the IELTS listening, don't waste your time for listening to the songs or watching films. Try to listen for real stuff, for non-fiction stuff. For example, documentaries, TED Talks, some specific topics on academic context, like about biofuels, about global warming, about animals, about pests, and so on and so on. So try to get listening which has the academic context in order to achieve success in section 3 and 4. Okay, so here are the general listening skills. that you'll be using in all 4 sections. The first is listening for gist, or another way we say skimming, which means you listen to the audio in order to get the general idea, and this is usually helpful in the type of matching names. The second skill is listening for details, or scanning technique. Scanning skill, which means you need to complete a note or table or summary completion with specific details from the listening. Since you will be listening only one time, that's why you'll have to use these skills simultaneously, at the same time. So you need to get the general idea what they are talking about, and on the other hand, you need to make sure that you're catching some details in order to answer the questions. So here is the specific step-by-step technique that is really crucial for all the sections. First of all, when they give you 1 minute to read the questions, you need to underline keywords, not only of the questions, but the task as well. For example, in the task, there might be written, write no more than 1 word or a number. So the word, 1 word, a number become a keyword for the instructions. Then you move on to the questions. If it has a title, also look at the title, underline the keywords. Then, when you underline the keywords, you need to automatically think of synonyms for these keywords, because you know that people who are doing this IELTS exam, they are smart people, and most of the time they are not going to use the same word as it is in the question and then in the track. So therefore, they will be using a lot of synonyms, a lot of paraphrasing, just in order to avoid using the exact word in the question. So that's why don't expect to listen a specific word from the question. Think of synonyms. Number 3, practice taking notes while listening. It is really crucial for a student to get used to listen and write at the same time. That's why when you practice your listening skills, for example, you're listening to the tech talks or some documentaries, take your copybook and write down all the details that you're hearing from the text. That will help you to answer the questions while listening. The last one is make predictions for each gap, or for each the answers. For example, if before the gap, if there is an article A, so you make a prediction, okay, the next word is going to be singular noun. Or if there is a gap between as gap and then as, then it's usually between these two as, we usually use adjective in the first form. For example, as big as, something like this. So try to make a prediction for each gap. And spelling, again, keep in mind your spelling. For example, practice with C, it's a noun, and with S, it's a verb. Okay, so here are the listening for details. As you see here, I circled the instructions first, the word 3 and number. Then I underlined all the words in this note. By the way, this is section 1. In section 1, usually you have a note completion or table completion with specific personal informations, like for example, like names, phone numbers, addresses, price, and so on. So in this case, we have a title as well, journey details. So usually in journey details, you need to mention the city, this destination, how long does it take, how much does it cost, and how many stops are there, and so on. For example, number 3, you can guess, you can predict that that's probably name of the place. For example, the train change in York, or then you see, so you have two, let's say, 2 places to stop. And number 4, stops times on road. So this is really logical, because previously it mentions 2 places to stop. So number 4 is probably should be 2 times, stops 2 times on road. means during the travel. Then a couple of hours slower than what? Yeah, so here it might be a name of one more type of transport. So you underline keywords, you think of synonyms, and you predict. Also, there is a table completion. In table, reading headings and understanding them, the correlation of between them is really important. For example, here we have headings train and bus. So we have two categories. And we have name of a discount card, the percentage, standard fare. For example, here the word fare has synonyms like price, fee, money, yeah, and so on. So you need to think of synonyms simultaneously. Cost of discount card, yeah, again, the price.